Hey everyone, this is Connor and my co-host Johnny.
Hey, welcome to our podcast, Dad Shoes.
Have you ever wondered where a dad joke comes from?
Or how dads just seem to have the right wisdom for the moment.
Or maybe you're trying to figure out what your dad was thinking. Maybe you are a dad and you just need to hear,
Hey man, us too.
well, we're learning what it's like to wear the dad shoes.
And we would like to invite you to join us on that journey. But first things first, Connor. What's going on?
Well, nothing.
Or nothing.
Nothing's going on. Welcome to Season 2 of Dad Shoes. We're super excited to continue this tradition here, and I'd like to tell you about Titus's new mealtime trick.
What is Titus doing at mealtime?
I know that sounds like very open-ended, and it could be very bad, but so my son, he's been talking for a while, and he knows what he likes. We'll just say it that way. So when it comes time for dinner, which my son's a very picky eater, that's no secret. We've talked about it here before. So I don't want to make something that he's just not going to eat, so I try to ask him, like, hey Titus, what do you want for dinner? What do you want for breakfast? What do you want for lunch? And he says the same answer every time. You know what it is?
Cookies.
Food. Hey Titus, what do you want for dinner? Food.
All right, so
Okay.
you're going to eat what I make you, right?
But Titus, these vegetables are food. Believe it or not, he doesn't buy it. It does not work for him. But no matter what, every meal I ask him, hey Titus, what do you want for dinner? Food. Okay, but what kind of food do you want? Dinner.
But all right, so I got all right. It's bothering me because I'm not there all the time, so I have no context. I have no frame of reference here. And is there do you have a staple that he eats all the time?
Our go-to is we call them tacos, but it's a quesadilla.
Okay, so he'll eat like a quesadilla with cheese,
Just cheese, barely melted.
no chicken, no ground beef, no steak, no filet mignon, no tofu.
No. See, at home, he sticks to the basics. He likes French fries. He loves berries.
Oh, cool.
Still eats fruit. Still very into fruit. His breakfast pretty much every day is waffles.
Could be
and
worse.
his dinner pretty much every day is a taco.
Well, all right. So when you say, what do you want for dinner? And he says food. And you say, yes, Titus, I know. What kind of food? And he says, dinner. What he's really saying is taco. Because he always
he knows the word taco. Like when we say, hey, bud, do you want a taco? He'll say yes or no. But here's the crazy thing, right? So my son's a picky eater. And that makes it's mealtime's really tough. And I know I was a picky eater growing up, but it's hard. You want to expand his horizons. So what we try to do is we always put more on his plate than we know he's going to eat. We put some green beans on his plate last night. And he almost had a heart attack. But we put him there. We put him there just to kind of expose him to what it is. But here's the thing: his preschool teacher can get him to eat just about anything.
You've said that before.
It's the craziest thing. It's like when he's not home, he'll eat different things. And we've noticed this before. Like when he was in home daycare, that lady could get him to eat whatever she wanted. Like lunch meat, provolone cheese, whatever she had. He would
French
eat it.
fries and a chocolate smoothie.
Yeah.
Is that what
French
Tyler
fries,
said?
fudgesicle, whatever she had. But he would eat it there. And you know what? When we used to go to Costco with him, we would get Costco pizza, and he loved Costco pizza. But if we bring it home, he won't eat it. And so
Can you blame him?
It's still Costco pizza.
It's not as good.
It looks exactly the same.
Yours doesn't taste exactly the same.
I don't know. I think it's fine either way. But just as an experiment and out of desperation and just we don't know, we just needed something to send to lunch, I made him a turkey sandwich because he'll do PB&J occasionally.
Yeah.
And so we sent a turkey sandwich and it didn't come home. And that means one of two things. Either he ate it or he threw it away. So we asked the teacher, hey, what's the deal with the sandwich? Did he eat it or did he not? And she's like, no, he ate it, no problem. Okay, this is ridiculous. So I don't know. I guess I asked her about it, and I guess she is just a little bit more stern when it comes to mealtime, because she said all she does at mealtime is says, well, you have to eat your lunch if you want your goldfish.
Yep. So it's funny. So, all right. So we're having an issue with Charlotte May right now that she just doesn't eat. And, well, that's not entirely true. She does eat. But I go to work. This is going to tie right in. I go to work I try to leave about 6:15. But I frequently don't leave until 6:30 because somebody has woken up and come out to say hi. We'll get there. But I leave early. Mom wakes up. And but she'll wake up right as I'm leaving so she can be with the kid. But she feeds her breakfast and lunch because they're at home. And when I get home, it's dinner time. So we'll eat dinner, and she doesn't eat. Charlotte May won't eat anything. And she'll eat bread. She'll eat French fries if that's an option. You know, stuff that's completely just like junk food, not food.
Yeah.
If there are berries,
Like carbs.
she might. Yeah, just carbs is all she'll eat. So Labor Day was a couple days ago. So I was able to have a few days at home, and I've really noticed it the last couple of weeks on my days off. We were home. We were actually doing things at home, and I was able to see what's going on. And because from my perspective, she's just not eating food, right? I'll come home and she's got a handful of pretzels, and then she doesn't want to eat anything. She'll have bread for dinner, and I'm like, she's getting too much snacks. You know, something's going on. And I'm having this conversation with my wife, and she goes, look, she'll eat lunch eventually. So like if she gets a hot dog, she'll eat 1 or 2 hot dogs, and then I don't see her eat dinner. But she doesn't eat at lunchtime. Lunchtime is 11:30, right? So she'll eat some. She'll have the bun. She'll have the stuff around it. She'll play a bit, and then nap time. She naps. She wakes up whenever it is. Usually, because it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. She goes down for a nap. So 3:30 she wakes up, and then she eats her lunch. One of the issues that I've come into. Well, we've been working on this for about a year, probably longer. That we'll have cut up some chicken. You have chicken. I want a French fry or potato, whatever it is, whatever the carb is that she wants. You get one after you eat a piece of chicken, right? So she'll eat a chicken, and then we'll barter, do the barter system. And the other day we were out at Ale House, and she wanted another French fry, but she had just 3 pieces of chicken on her plate. And I'm like, you eat those 3 pieces, and I'll give you another French fry. And they were gone. Like, wow. I blinked, and like I thought she threw them on the floor, and I see her mouth is full of chicken, you know. Like she ate it, and then I gave her a French fry. I gave her 2 French fries because that was
we try that with Titus every once in a while. And so look, I've heard you're really not supposed to do that.
Really,
like, that kind of creates a bad association with food.
Well,
like bartering.
I'm in the wrong.
But it's so natural. Like I default to that all the time, especially when Titus is like, "Hey, I'm done." I'm like, "Okay, well, eat a little bit more, and then I'll let you down."
So he's still in a high chair though. Right?
It's a booster seat that we strap him into.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. We don't have a high chair. We've got the Bumbo booster seat. So Charlotte May isn't strapped in. She just sits on a chair.
Man, it's me just put a belt on that chair and then keep her at the table a little bit longer.
Don't tempt me.
No, we got a booster seat. He's been in it since we moved in with my mom, and he climbs in. He gets in himself. He buckles himself in, and we default to that barter system all the time. And I've heard, like, I just read a couple places, like, it's not really good because it creates that negative association with food. You don't want to force them to eat something because then it becomes a negative thing. But you know, it's easy. It's easy to do. We do it all the time. You know, so even though I say that it's not good, we do it all the time. Just you know, eat a couple more bites of this, and then you'll get French fries, or you'll get chips, or you'll get down. Right. Or my mom comes in, and I think this is a big reason why I've always had weight issues, because she did this with me, and she's like, "I'll give you a cookie." That was her default, and she does it to Titus all the time, and we give her a look like, "Mom, we don't want him to eat that many cookies." And she's like, "Oh, you eat that, I'll give you a cookie. Like one little bite of green bean, I'll give you a whole cookie."
And that's the problem. All right, you get one little bite of green bean, you get one little bite of cookie.
Yeah. So I really thought Titus was going to eat a hot dog the other day, because I think what it is, like, he's heard the word hot dog because he loves Mickey Mouse
Clubhouse, the hot dog dance.
And they do the hot dog dance. And so we were having lunch one day at home, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to have a hot dog." And Titus is like, "I want a hot dog." I'm like, "You want a hot dog?" "I want a hot dog." "Okay, let me make this as fast as humanly possible before you change your mind." So I made him one. I cut it up, and maybe that was my mistake. I don't know. I cut it up into little bits and gave him a fork because he wasn't going to do the whole bun thing. And I put it on his plate, and I put it in front of him, and he looks down at it, and he just looks so disappointed. And he's like, "That's a hot dog? I don't want a hot dog."
He said, "I don't want a hot dog."
He's like, "I don't want a hot dog anymore."
That's so sad.
Once he saw it, he's like, "Oh, I thought this was going to be more exciting." There was something else that you said. You were talking about Charlotte May, and it was with food and something with my daughter.
Your daughter?
Yeah, with my daughter. I was going to relate to. I lost it, though.
Sorry, dude. About the barter system?
No, we don't barter with her. She eats everything right now.
Mabel eats anything. I get calls, and I can tell how the day is going by how many calls I get, because my wife, it was either Friday or yesterday, I got like 17 calls, and they were like, my wife is just like yakking about nothing. I get home, great mood.
So calls are a good thing.
Calls are a good thing.
Okay.
And then like today I got a bunch of calls before like 10. Like I think she called me 4 times before 8 o'clock. It's like I just left the house, babe. What do you want? And then I didn't get anything in the afternoon, and I'm driving home, and I'm driving home late. I got home late tonight, and it's already after 6, and I finally get a call from my wife. I'm like, oh no, this will be fine. Actually, it wasn't, but she just had you spend all day with the kids, and I bless the mothers that can do it, and the fathers. Well, those stay-at-home parents that pre-COVID stay-at-home parents. I don't know how you do it. I have not had to do it, so maybe for me it would be easy. My wife,
yeah, give it a shot.
And that's what I mean. Like
Next day off,
experience.
tell Cassie to just leave the house and come back at 5 and see how it does.
Listen, I like to think that I'd be a little more hands-on if it wasn't like I get a day to not beat myself up, and I've got stuff I've got to do. So please forgive me if I'm not like right here all the time, right? And I appreciate that my wife is constantly doing it. But
that's the trouble that we had when we had both kids home during COVID, is we both work full time, and it was tough. Yeah. We had to really balance our day. But anyway, let me ask you, John, when's the last time you and Cassie had a date night?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Oh, very good. Very good. Awesome. Well, Marcy and I recently got out, went to a little restaurant, social distance, of course, have a little drink. The waiter came by and said, "Hey, I noticed your glass is empty. Would you like another one?" And I said, "Why would I want 2 empty glasses?"
What had you ordered?
My wife gave me the weirdest look. She's laying right here. We haven't been out. We haven't gone out in a long time. But that was all for the joke. And when I said we went on a date, she's looking at me like, "What are you talking about?"
That's funny. Well, hey, you know what? Maybe your mom can watch your kids on Saturday, and you guys can go out.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You guys should do that.
Where would I go? Where would we go?
The beach. We're gonna do the beach, I think.
Oh, we went to the beach recently. Yeah. This is totally off topic, but
we can cut all this out.
Sunday, we just needed to get the kids out of the house, and it was raining, but we went to the beach anyway, and we ran around.
Was it thunderstorm raining or just raining?
It was just drizzling. It's like there was no lightning. It was just drizzling, so it wasn't super hot, but I was still getting wet.
How were the waves?
Totally flat. It was totally flat, but it was nice to see the ocean.
Did you go in?
We touched the water. The water was warm.
Of course it is.
Yeah. I don't know. The last time I went to the beach, the water was cold, but maybe that was just
February. Maybe
it's been a while. So we touched the water because we weren't really prepared to go in. We just wanted to get out of the house and go for a drive. But Titus had a blast.
Awesome.
Man, I was really surprised because he was just so into the water, and we kept trying to get him to collect shells, but he kept picking them up and he'd be like, "Oh, cool shell! Look at this!" Throw.
Awesome.
And he just chucked every single one.
So I'm the opposite. I'm still that kid who leaves the beach with half the shells on the beach in his pockets. I'll get to the car. I'm like, what the heck am I going to do with these things? And now it's different. It's a more mature collection.
Yeah.
So we'll see pretty shells, and they'll have holes in them, or like a nice rock. We went to Georgia, and I started collecting some rocks for the girls because this is a trip we went on. I'll make a necklace out of it. Great ideas, right? And I'm like, I have 30 shells in my hand. I have 2 kids, 30 shells every time I go to the beach. What the heck am I going to do with these?
We just try to get one.
Yeah, but I miss the days where I could go to the beach with my board and nothing. You go out in the water, and then it doesn't matter what the shells look like because I'm going into the water and then getting out of the water and going into my car. So now I'm walking the beach with somebody whose steps are the size of my foot. So I got some time to kill.
Yep, for sure. I miss those days because if there's one thing that I have in common with Darth Vader, it's that I do not like the sand.
I don't mind the sand.
I would much rather be in the water. Anyway, we went to the beach. We keep our trip collection on our dashboard in the van.
That's cool. I like it.
So we've got like 5 rocks from North Carolina, and then the shell from the first time, Riley's first beach trip. I don't know what happened to the last shell, but that's where we keep our
It's in your
collection
board
right now.
drawers.
We try to keep it small.
That's nice. I mean, I actually do have quite a collection from Georgia, but
So, John, you mentioned your morning routine. You get a little visitor before you leave the door.
yeah, dude, it was adorable the first couple times, and let me rephrase that. It's adorable. The first few times it was like awesome. So the first time she did this, it was my day off. I don't know what day it was, but maybe 6:30 ish, and I'm planning to sleep in. I've been up late, and I just want to sleep in. 6:30 ish, I hear the dog like, and she starts to bark, and I roll over, yell at her, and then realize that there's a little person opening my door, and that's what the dog is growling at. So I call her over, come here, honey, come get in bed. When I was a child, middle of the night, at some point in the night, I would climb into my parents' bed. That was just what I did. I have no idea what time it was, because time didn't matter when you're a kid and it's the middle of the night. If your parents are in bed, it's the middle of the night, right? So at some point in the night, I would climb into my parents' bed, and then it got to the point my mom or one of them didn't want me sleeping in the bed anymore because I was too big. So they made a little nest on the floor next to the bed, and it's totally cool. I did it. I'm expecting my children to do it too. Kind of hoping they do it because I love snuggles. Come get up in bed now. Just like yells, God, get up,
Wow.
get up. Like it is 6:30. Your sister is in this bed sleeping. Your mother is in this bed sleeping. Shut up. Nope, just screaming. Like, not like yelling and angry, just like talking in her normal voice. And I am loud, and she is a little me, so she is loud, and super cute the first time. The next day I have to go to work. I get a call, because, good days, lots of calls. I get a call at 6:45. I was just woken up with hands on my butt.
Uh-oh.
Charlotte May had come in, and she's shaking mommy awake, right? So we have handles on our doors, not knobs. And I have gotten this little, they have the you can't open this child lock for the knobs, and you gotta like grab it and pinch the two things. So I wanted one that was for handles, and our handles are connected. There's a word for it, and I don't know what to call them, but when you push the outside handle down, the inside handle goes too. So it's not like you can just lock one side. You have to if you lock one side, both sides are locked. So it's on the outside, so I can get in and out, but she can't get in and out. And I put it there, and I put it on one time. I locked it before we went to bed one night because I didn't want her to get. It was when we first put her in a toddler bed. Then I started thinking, well, if I need to get in there, or she needs to get out of there, it's not an easy thing. It's not like I was hoping for one that was just a bar that you flip out, so it can't go down, but you can lift it up. So for an adult, it's easy, but for a toddler who just is grabbing it to go down, or like a dog, but I couldn't find one of those. That's what makes sense to me. That way, it's not a fire hazard. It's just it's harder to open. But so this thing goes around both sides, like the top and bottom, and it loops over, so you can't open it. And we started using it. I used it one time, and now I use it to keep them out of things.
Yep.
So
we do the same thing.
Yeah, right. So there's one on our garage door, going out from the laundry room into the garage, because if she can get out into the garage, she's not getting out of the garage, but if the garage door's open, she could.
And there's stuff out there you don't want your kid to get into.
Yeah, so that one I lock every night, and that's like, we're gonna put one on her sister's room so she can't get in there and wake her up in the morning.
Very important.
Right. But now we've gotten to the point where all last week, yesterday, today, I get up at 5 o'clock, hop in the shower, and I hear a voice at my bed. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm just hearing things. Let's just, how like sometimes your imagination, like you hear things that could be there, but probably aren't. So it's one of those.
And you make it there in your mind.
Exactly. So I'm like, it's not, no. It is like 5 after 5. There's no way she's awake. I get out of the shower, and I'm greeted by a little lady who's Daddy. She's got her pajamas on inside out and backwards, which is hilarious that she can do that. When you see it, it's just, how did you manage that? Anyways, pajamas on inside out and backwards, like whispering, Daddy. And I pick her up and I hold her. Hey, why don't we lay down with Mommy in Mommy's bed? We have to be quiet. And I put her in bed just as loud as you please. I don't know what she yelled. Well, Mabel's in the bed because at 4 o'clock she wakes up and nobody wants to deal with a screaming child at 4 o'clock, so Mom just brings her to bed. Mom's asleep. Mabel's asleep. Not anymore. Everybody's awake. It's maybe 5:30. Everybody's awake.
That's the worst.
Oh man, I snatched her up. We went outside, out into the living room. We watched content recommendation here. You ready for this? Eleanor wonders why. I've only seen an
I
episode.
don't know
and a
why
half.
that sounds funny. It sounds like Forky asks a question. Have you seen those?
Yes.
Those are pretty funny.
That's really good, actually. All right. So there is a podcast from iHeartMedia. It's called Daniel and Jorge Explain the Universe. I've talked about it before. And Daniel is a particle physicist, and Jorge does PhD comics. He's a cartoonist, but I believe he's got a doctorate in something. So his daughter is Eleanor, and she will ask him random questions like, "Is space infinite, or is there a multiverse?" And she's 9, I think.
Those are big questions for a 9-year-old.
Yeah, well, when your dad's a
must be
doctor who
scripted.
hangs out with a PhD or a particle physicist, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But that is a big question. So he started taking these questions that she would have and like this curiosity he would see in his kid, and started writing these like little short shows. So it's a PBS thing. It's on the PBS app, the PBS Kids app. Anyways, so I put on Eleanor Wonders Why. She watched that today until they went out to like Target or something at 10. So I mean, that was just on running. And there's only, I mean,
Wow.
it launched on Labor Day, but I think they launched the whole season. So there's all
I guess
that.
so.
All
I mean,
that
Labor Day
content.
was a couple days ago.
Yeah, there's all that content's on there, and so
Wow.
it was just on, and they were watching it maybe on repeat or whatever. But yeah, that's my mornings now.
Yeah.
I wake up, and so my wife said this morning about 8:00 she called, and she said I think she's waking up so she can see you before you go to work, which is terrible. It's like, way to make me feel bad, kid. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about it
We
either.
have not really had that kind of issue just because none of us go to work that early. So we haven't had that. But after we put Titus in the toddler bed, we've always had handles. And so we definitely put one of those door locks. At some point in his life, we have had a door lock like that on pretty much every door in the house.
So you know that you've got the one with the loop that goes around the handle?
Right, because we have knobs. We don't have like
Oh,
the
okay.
handles.
Yeah.
So we have the ones. It's got little holes you squeeze your fingers in,
Right,
and then you
okay.
can open it. Especially when we first moved in to my mom's house, because one of their favorite things is running into my mom's room and they go hide in the shower, and they think that's the funniest thing in the world.
It's really funny and really cute, but not at bedtime or before we're time
No,
to get up.
they'll just do it in the middle of the day, like randomly. Hey, let's go and hide in Nana's shower. And the fun of it is they know we're going to go chase them because Nana has all kinds of stuff in her room that we don't want them to touch. What's really funny is when they hide in the shower and then I turn the shower on.
No.
They do not like that. But
So, total
we
aside.
have since taken a lot of those doorknobs off just because we didn't want to keep dealing with them. Not so much the fire hazard thing, like, yeah, we probably should think about that too. And it was more so when we wanted to go put Riley down, we then had to deal with that handle.
Yeah, they're
And
cumbersome.
we, of course, yeah, they're not hard, but when you're holding a baby and you're holding the baby in the hand that you need to open that door with, then it can become an issue.
Yeah.
And of course we had to have one on her room because when she's napping and Titus gets bored, he's going to go say hi to Riley, see what she's doing.
We've had that issue. I
Yeah,
believe
and it's
we're done, but
I think what you're dealing with too is the struggle that every parent of 2 children or more has, and that's when one child wakes up the other child.
so that's
way
why
too
they're
early.
not together.
Yeah.
Because so I can't see right now, but we'll put Charlotte May down about 8:00. About 8:00 is her bedtime, and she'll be up and awake and playing in bed, and she'll take just last night or the other night, I'm out here doing something on the computer, and all of a sudden they're screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, help me!" It's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and you're awake. I run in because I think, oh, she must have had a bad dream or something. No, she took her pajamas off and couldn't get her arm back in. She was stuck in her pajamas.
That's a very precarious situation.
Look, I sympathize. I've been there. It's terrifying. It is not good at all.
Yep.
But maybe if you were sleeping instead of playing with your pajamas,
We wouldn't have this
wouldn't have
issue. Yeah. But you got to think, imagine in her mind just for a second, she's thinking this is now forever.
oh, absolutely.
This
I
is
have
forever.
been there.
I'm never getting out of this. So
Oh man.
Titus, he's always been our sleeper, and Riley has always been our eater. and they're not very good at the other thing, either one of them. But Titus has always been great at sleeping. Like, naps were a little rough there for a while, especially when we first put him in the toddler bed. But at night, we haven't really had an issue with him. The only time we had a problem with Titus is when we were on a trip to North Carolina, and we all had to stay in the same room, and he woke up at 4 a.m. and would not go back to sleep.
At 4?
And I was so not happy. 4 a.m. He's just like, you know what? I'm done sleeping. Let's get this day on the road. So we got back on the road very early that day, but I was so not happy with him about that. So we have now we've got one of those doorknob thingies on the inside of Titus's door, and he doesn't get up in the middle of the night really. When he wakes up in the morning, he will lay in bed and yell until somebody comes in. He won't usually get out of bed unless he just really...
That's funny.
Unless we've left him in there too long. But for me, I think I would be more afraid of him getting out of his room and, like, getting into something I really don't want him to do in the middle of the night, like while we're sleeping. Like, he wakes up and he just decides, you know what, I'm going to climb on top of the refrigerator, and quickly realizes that's too high and falls off and hits his head. That's my anxiety, is that he's going to, find the knife drawer in the middle of the night while we're sleeping.
That's an interesting, I hadn't thought of that. She doesn't do stuff. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
just taught her, don't go into this sink, into this cabinet. You have this cabinet. And there's only...
Yeah, and it's things he doesn't do them during the day, but those are like during the day when the TV's on and we're all awake. But if it's, I don't know, that's what my anxiety tells me is in the middle of the night when he's alone, he's going to try and entertain himself, and he's going to happen to find himself inside the oven for some reason.
That's a really interesting point.
So I sleep better at night knowing he can't get out of that room.
Interesting. I did not think of that.
Well, that's why we had the locks on all the doors for a while and have just decided, he stopped going into Riley's room while she's napping. He might try it again at some point and we'll regress to that. But he's been good about not doing that, so we don't have the locks on. He does not have the undressing thing. He pretty much leaves his clothes on, although when he first started preschool, they have them, when they go to potty, take off their own diaper. And so he learned how to take off his own diaper. And the preschool said what he would do is run into the bathroom and say, I need a diaper change, and just rip off his pants, rip off the diaper, and just wait until they came in and changed his diaper, put on a new one. And so he doesn't usually take his clothes off, but there was one night where we went in, or one morning rather, we went in, and he's sitting there, no pants, diaper half on, completely soaked. And what he had done is he tried to change his own diaper, and he couldn't figure out how to, like, he went and he got the pull-up, and he took his old one off, and he took his pants off, but he couldn't put the new one on, like put his legs in the loops and try and pull them on. So he's sitting there with a pull-up half on, and since then he had peed, so he's sitting in pee. And it was like, wow, that's the craziest thing.
That is so interesting.
He's only done that once, though.
That's so weird, because so he doesn't get himself dressed. Like, he can't.
He can put his pants on, and I think he can he can get himself dressed, and he has a problem taking his shirt off. That's the part he can't really figure that out.
That makes sense. So he just couldn't figure out how to get that pull-up.
He couldn't get the pull-up on. It was dark, know.
That makes sense.
All he has is the nightlight.
Yeah, so we get, that was one of the things we were really trying to push with Charlotte May. Put your pants on. Here's how you put your pants on, your underwear on. And we've gotten to the point when we go out, she's just in a diaper. We're just, because it's such a hassle. She doesn't tell us I need to go pee pee until she has. Yeah. And when she's home, it's different. When we're at somebody's house, it's like, oh, okay, well, no, it's time to go. Right now, that's kind of our struggle, is getting up with clothes on. So we're going to have to figure out something else. But that's an interesting way to look at it. I hadn't looked at, like, locking her in her room as a safety thing.
I'm just worried about, Titus getting into something that we don't want him to. Like, who knows? And I'm waiting for the day. The other thing that he knows how to do is he will, at mealtime, our TV it's on a swivel, so it turns. Right. And so we'll turn the TV, and TV during mealtime is a whole other topic we can get into. Whole other topic we can get into. When we do let him watch TV during mealtime, he will go turn the TV himself, and I'm just waiting for the day that he pulls that sucker right off the cabinet.
Dang, that's a relatively new TV too.
Yeah, it's going to be a sad day. Anyway, do you want to talk about your content, or are you satisfied with the content that you shared?
Well, I actually had a question for you, and that was hence the question mark. Okay. Have you seen Cobra Kai?
I have not seen Cobra Kai. I have been interested, but I have not watched it yet. I haven't committed to it.
All right, so I want to put out there in the ether. I think, and I'm not 100% on this opinion, but I think anyone who enjoyed Karate Kid, who like, I don't want to say like shaped them or what, but you know, took something away from that movie more than just it was a movie. If you took something away from the Karate Kid, I think you need to see Cobra Kai.
How much of it have you watched?
I've only seen the first 2 episodes. It's interesting because you and I talked about it, and you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, Johnny's like he's like, it's like the reverse where now Johnny is the one picked on and Danny's the bully. I'm only 2 episodes in, so I don't really know if that's the dynamic, because on one hand I'm seeing, you know, this guy who got Johnny the bully in the Karate Kid kind of like changed, like he realized that his mentor was a jerk, right? And so he kind of mellowed out. He still got this like, I'm a karate man, you know, I know what I'm doing, I can kick your butt, but he's not like going out picking fights, at least at the beginning. So like there's a lot of character reintroduction in the first episode.
Yeah. I might watch it. I remember being really excited when I first heard about it.
Yeah, me too.
Like, it was going to be on YouTube TV or whatever, and you had to pay for it.
It's on Netflix.
And, well, now it's on Netflix.
Oh.
But originally it was a YouTube thing.
Oh.
Like, and if you paid for YouTube Premium, then you could watch this show. You could stream it whenever it came out. And, it, you know, they were trying to get people to do YouTube streaming. And I was really excited about the concept because I thought, oh, cool, Karate Kid. I like the Karate Kid movies. Wasn't enough to get me to pay for YouTube Premium,
Not
obviously.
in the least.
But when I saw it come to YouTube, when I saw it come to Netflix, I was pretty excited about it because I thought, man, that's a cool show. But it pops up, it's on my list. So when I open Netflix, it's like the first thing I see, and it's usually the ad they show me. And some of the ads make it look like, the only word I can think to describe it is like ridiculous, like overblown, over the top, like just Ralph Macchio and Johnny, whatever the guy's name is. Just those two main guys. It looks like they're just caricatures of themselves,
of who they were,
right?
Yeah. So
is that kind of what it's like?
So it seems to me like that's almost the case, because in they do this like some of the stuff was never like great high quality acting. They're not really great actors. The karate was like, yeah, okay, you got a couple of kids to learn karate, but now it's like, okay, so you got some adults who did karate as kids, and you can tell like there's a Ralph Macchio, Daniel-san is now a grown up.
Danny LaRusso.
Danny LaRusso. Yeah. So he owns LaRusso Automotive or whatever. He's a car salesman, right? And
perfect. And
he kicks the competition. And every customer leaves with a complimentary bonsai tree. And it's like, some of it's just like, this is silly. This is just silly. But I think if you enjoyed the movies as a kid or as an adult, whatever, you should watch it just because it continues the story. It's like, and I know there was 3 Karate Kids. I thought the first 2 were with Danny LaRusso.
Yeah,
and then the third.
Me and my brother recently talked about this.
Yeah,
because there were 3 Karate Kids with Danny LaRusso, and then there was like another one called The Next Karate Kid that had this girl.
Oh, okay.
And then there was the reboot with Jaden Smith and
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I love Jackie Chan. That guy's great.
My content. I actually meant to talk about this last week. Is something we've been doing together almost every night.
Almost.
We've been playing a lot of Halo.
We have been playing.
We've been playing a lot of Halo. But it's been so fun, and it's so. I mean, Halo wasn't that long ago, but it's still nostalgia.
All right, so let's put this into context. I got Halo when I got an Xbox, and I was in high school. And I think it was 2002 is when we got our Xbox. And Halo had just won Game of the Year, and it was Christmas, and my uncle had it for like 3 months or something, and he's like, oh, I was so excited to give this to you. So that was 20 years ago almost, is when Halo came out, and I loved it.
It's been a while.
I love Halo. It was such a great game. My brother and I played the game all the time. That was what we did.
Yeah.
And
what's weird is thinking about how the game has changed almost. Like, you know, we're playing on PC. We're playing the Master Chief Collection, which has, like, they're releasing it in chronological order, not release order. But you can go back and play the original Halo. And, like, the original Halo game is so different from how first-person shooters are today.
I haven't played the original Halo game because we've been playing the other.
Yeah, we've been playing Reach, but Reach was designed, more to be more like Call of Duty and more like those modern shooter games. And a real classic example is in like Halo, you couldn't sprint. Like sprint was not a thing,
Right.
but it's almost a thing in every single first-person shooter today. Is you can sprint. You move a little bit faster. That's like the common soldier move. Is somebody shooting sprint so you can get to cover. That wasn't a thing in the first
Right.
Halo. I remember also,
Or in Halo
let's
2
see,
or
was it-
Halo 3.
Yeah, like you couldn't sprint in any of those, and you could jump so high.
Super high.
Like super unrealistically high, and they kind of pulled that back because that's not what modern shooters were doing. But
So
it's
Reach,
almost
you can't
like
jump as high?
in Halo Reach, you cannot.
Huh.
You don't jump as high as you do in Halo 3. That's why every time we go and do the campaign from Halo 2 or 3, I always say, "Wow, you can jump so high."
Because you
You're like,
play
"What?"
Halo Reach.
Because I'm used to playing Halo Reach. I'll play multiplayer Halo Reach. So I'm not used to jumping as high as you can in Halo 2 and 3. But it's almost like, for a comparison, like when we got into Pokemon cards, like it's almost like, okay, now I have an adult brain and I can really grasp what this concept of the game is and really enjoy it now that I have no time to devote to this. It's like when we got Pokemon cards. We're like, oh, we finally understand the rules of the game and the mechanics of like what cards to get. Let's go spend money on this now.
Now I have money to spend.
Now it's like, oh, well, I grasp the concept of strategic shooting and teamwork. Let's play Halo now that I'm an adult and understand it. I'm not just running around getting my butt kicked every round.
Well, I still get my butt kicked every round. I used to be really good at Halo.
Yeah, maybe what it is, and I don't want to diminish your Halo skill, but it's kind of like the ping pong thing. Like every friend group has one friend who's really good at ping pong, but then when that friend goes to another group and plays with them, like
He's
they're
the
not as
bad
good.
one. Yeah.
He's the one who's bad. Maybe you're like just the best in our friend group at Halo.
I don't know. I don't even think I'm that good. But it's different. It's definitely changed.
For sure. Anyway.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us today on Dad Shoes. We'd really appreciate it if you would share this with your friends. Help us get the word out. If you've enjoyed our podcast, you can reach out to us on Twitter at DadShoesPod or email us at dadshoespod@gmail.com. What do you do to keep your kids in their room and hopefully quiet when it's night time? We'd love to hear from you. We'd also appreciate it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you are listening to podcasts. Thanks again for hanging out.
Night night.